Hi, welcome to the News at Gen for August 2nd, 2021. It's Dinosaur Day. Roar! Be careful about the clever girls running about. So yeah, that's kind of a fine impression of a dinosaur. It's worth a like or subscribe, right? Maybe? Please? Anyway, our former president and abusive distant relative, Donald Trump, continues to deliver weirdness to the headlines. Trump reportedly asked for the Department of Justice to declare the November election corrupt, and then said that he and his friends in Congress would take care of the things. Of course, that means a coup. Also, Trump raised $56 million in the first half of 2021. All those poor people are giving them all of their money. So this is where the News at Gen makes a turn, pointing out hypocrisy in general and Republican hypocrisy specifically is exceptionally fruitless and gives us reducing returns on the old chuckle meter. We're no longer surprised by it. The inflation of stress is no longer relieved by the reveal, so to speak, and so the jokes are no longer as funny. It's as if you filled up a balloon and skewered it, but even after that, it still had air left inside. In a word, exposing the hypocrisy is no longer effective against anything, and it has no effect besides injury to those who would note it. And that only works for a sadist, which, fortunately for you, I am, so we'll probably be fine. But what it does is mean that I'm not interested in how the Blue Lives Matter crowd handled the testimony of cops. They handled it as anyone might have expected. And rather than just point that out, the News at Gen dug deeper, conducting an interview with sociologist and part-time in tech, Mr. Albert Fish. Mr. Fish was primarily interested in how the utter lack of accountability in our elected officials makes us feel. And so after many hours of interviews and exhaustive literature studies, he came to the one conclusion that it seems inevitable. Feels bad, man. There's nothing that the higher-ups at the News at Gen will permit me to say, mostly because we're not sure who those higher-ups are. They only appear to us in the liminal state between dream and reality that is asleep, paralytic nightmares of mundane proportions. And yes, I am a sadist, and I am serious about that. Here's a picture of Ted Cruz mid-basketball game going in to do his job. Rising GOP star Stefanik echoed a fun trope that was thought to be a joke at first, but it appears to be real. She tweeted something on the anniversary of the implementation of the Medicaid and Medicare program on July 30th. She said, "Today's anniversary of Medicaid and Medicare reminds us to reflect on the critical role these programs have played to protect the health care of millions of families. To safeguard our future, we must reject socialist health care schemes." See, the irony here comes from Stefanik calling Medicare something that needs to be protected from socialism, which is especially funny when one of the most obvious socialist programs in America happens to be Medicare and Medicaid. Also, in reducing the cost of future health care by killing people news, a Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus has been called incredibly contagious, about as much so as chickenpox, except with COVID you might merely die. The effect on the pandemic might not be completely apparent now, but it's part of something that's oddly weird for the United States. Falling birth rates, which is really important for ramifications with the economy. It seems that people are less willing to have kids when there's a pandemic, record income inequality, the rise of fascism, and a partisan atmosphere so thick you could probably brew tea in the atmosphere. And into this, an eviction moratorium is scheduled to end this weekend. At the time of this writing and filming, we don't know if the feds are going to re-up that particular source of aid to renters and pain to landlords, but we can only hope so. But knowing Congress, no. But maybe? No. This week, Republicans and Democrats pushed through a procedural vote on an infrastructure bill in the Senate, which will allow them to allocate up to about $1 trillion in money for so-called hard infrastructure, which is not my penis. But this money should be going to very specific infrastructure things, such as water pipes, roads, internet, and other investments that are sorely needed in the United States because we've ignored them forever because they were not actively broken, just decaying. It's called preventative maintenance. Anyway, In soft infrastructure news, and by that I mean Fox News, the main girder that upholds very much to the right is not very popular amongst the conspiracy-minded. Mike Lindell, pillow magnate, has withdrawn his brand's pillow commercials from the news channel, stating artistic differences. Of course, there may be a reunion in the future because, like the Eagles, nothing can keep from some people from a whole shitload of money. We're going to take a stop here to give a shout out to Great Sandwiches Plus. Great Sandwiches Plus is our sponsor today with a fantastic new sandwich called the Crybaby. It's a tender cut of beef smoked for 12 hours and slathered in barbecue sauce and served on a hoagie roll. And it's all topped with fresh shredded Constitution. That's right, we take the American Constitution and shred it freshly in store just before using it to fill up your sandwich. Remember to use the coupon code DOWNWITHTHESTEAK for an additional 10% off your free order at Great Sandwiches Plus, as well as a free delivery of a Molotov cocktail right into your home. And by Molotov cocktail, Great Sandwiches Plus means some vodka and Mike's Red Hot in equal measure. Now my insides are on fire. That's awesome. In quitting news, and giving up news, and not paying attention to anything until it gets fucked up news, Michael Che deleted some jokes about Simone Biles, including those that made light of the sexual assault Biles suffered as a gymnast. The gymnast suffered a whole slew of criticism when she withdrew from the Olympics, absolutely none of which was deserved. Biles withdrew due to mental health reasons, and what does it matter? The Olympic team that dominates is only slightly less likely to win a medal that you won't even remember in 3 months. If you're that worried about medals, then I would love to hear nothing about the transgender athletes that are in the games, none of which will have won a medal anyway. But supposedly we're ready to quote-unquote dominate their sports. What I'm talking most about here, if you're really that concerned about medals and you would support them, is Lauren Hubble. She's not actually expected to win for New Zealand, who she plays for. She's a weightlifter. So, I mean, she beat someone else. Doesn't that mean that person was also unlikely to win? If she is also unlikely to win? That's just math, right? In baseball news, a former Cardinal was charged with felony sexual assault. I'm sorry, that's not baseball news. That's Catholic Church news. My bad. Theodore McCarrick is in his 90s. He stands accused of assaulting a 16-year-old boy in 1974. Oh, wow, that's a long time ago. The statute of limitations did not expire in Massachusetts because state law says that statutes of limitations only tick forward when the criminal is within the state. And remember to time your vacations to Boston liberally, criminals. In Who Do You Cheer For Here news, Scarlett Johansson has started proceedings to sue Disney for their streaming of the Black Widow movie. It has also inspired Cruella star Emma Stone to consider also suing for the lost revenue. See, when they started streaming, they didn't pay those actors part of the grosses instead, which I guess that's what happens, you know. And I'm really struggling with caring. They won't get richer. But it's also Disney, so fuck Disney. I don't know. What do you do here? In local news, a Rockford alderman peed on a neighbor's garage after he crashed into a parked vehicle. Police say the man was also drunk with alcohol, as opposed to drunk with life. As we all know, we should be. He was also carrying a concealed weapon. When confronted about all this, Alderman Bill Rose said he was attempting a new method of voter engagement, pissing on their garage doors. So that's the news agenda for Monday, August 2nd. I'll be a bit busy next Sunday, so while there will be a news agenda, it may be late on Monday the 9th. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to go see some friends open for Eddie Pepitone and then run away if they ask me if I want to meet him. So thank you for watching. Please drop onto the Patreon if you can. Please like and subscribe if you can. And as always, please remember, I love you.